with the Fef.
Let me in.
As long as I can throw a bowling ball down the lane, let's go.
More bowling stories.
I feel like I still have some years left in me.
Wow.
Every week.
This is bowling's heritage right here.
Live.
We're not playing how. We're playing how many.
Assert your dominance with the Packers.
I don't think there could have been too many better people than you yourself.
You know Cleveland's not a state, right?
Yes.
Governors, as we know, is not a state.
Let's do this. This is Bowling with the Fef.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Bowling with the Fef, a platform for you to share your unique bowling story live on our YouTube channel. We've got a heck of a show tonight with a young man who is making waves in the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area. He's got family who's invested in the sport, and he is starting to come into his own in that area. So we're looking forward to telling his story. Unfortunately, we got to start out with some breaking news tonight, and it's not the kind that I ever like to talk about. Justin Knowles has withdrawn from the U.S. Open. He has had some nerve pain in his back. It was pretty well known as they were talking about it in the telecast as he finished runner-up last week at the Pete Weber Missouri Classic. And he texted me a short time ago, said, unfortunately, had to pull out of the tournament after my squad. The nerve pain was getting worse, so I pulled the plug to try and be ready for the rest of the year. As you likely know, he did finish runner-up last week, and we're going to talk about that a little bit as we go here. He also was the points leader for two-handers. I believe he was fourth in points overall, which is pretty good in this early juncture of the year. So here's hoping that Mr. Knowles gets right and gets ready for some more PBA Tour action coming up as we make our way through the season here. Of course, right now, the talk is all about the U.S. Open. In fact, I was just watching a little video, a dimly lit video that Pat McAfee posted to Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, about 45 minutes ago or so, talking about matte finish bowling balls and EJ effing Tackett. Kind of cool to hear him talk about bowling. He said he just kind of dropped in, didn't let anybody know, learned a lot, and encouraged people to go bowling. No publicity is bad publicity, right? So glad to see that Pat McAfee was one of those taking in the U.S. Open in Indianapolis. Matt Sanders is the guy who is on top of the standings right now. Had a pretty serious leg injury over the offseason, and good to see him back competitive and in the lead in this thing. And Ethan Fiore, who is one of the young stars of the tour, in the runner-up spot as we go right now in day two. Other than that, you've got a couple of others who are young. Tum Hakim from Malaysia, also tied with Fiore for second. Anthony Simonson, who really put on a performance yesterday, in fourth. And Michael Davidson rounding out the top five with Belmo right behind him in sixth. And then you've got EJ Tackett, the defending champion, who is in the teens right now. Or no, he's up to ninth. He went 245, 201 his last two games. So he's bowling right now and hoping to repeat in his home state, Indiana, right? That's why McAfee was all about him, Indiana boys. Graham Fa was the one who ended up the victor in the Pete Weber Missouri Classic. But in the finals, we saw something that isn't all that common. One of Justin Knowles' practice balls was replayed, and Kyle Sherman called it gamesmanship. He said he had hit a different ball with not the one that he was throwing in competition, but this ball that he was throwing in practice with 500 grit, and then threw it with no intention of scoring. Now, I spoke with Knowles a little earlier in the week. He acknowledged the effect it may have on Fa's path to the pocket. They're both left-handed, but also that defense was not his primary goal. Take a listen.
Defense might have been the secondary goal, but goal one was I couldn't throw it hard enough to throw urethane straight up the lane. And watching Russo and Hayden hook the ball it didn't look great. And Graham had by far the greatest lick on that pair, and he crushed it all week. So my goal was to create some miss left because I knew with my lower speed and me compensating for my back, good chance I'm going to spin the ball and hit up on it, which I did almost every shot. Original benefit was add my miss room. My miss had been left all week with the back, and maybe try to get Graham to think a little bit. Luckily for him, it only made him think about one time, and then he never missed again.
Yeah, he never did miss again. This is one of the videos that you will see on the IPSIA channel, the International Bowling Pro Shop and Instructors Association, in a video series called Hot Topics. I actually produced those videos on the IPSIA channel. You can search for this handle or simply IPSIA Education, and you'll find it. They're also they are also embedded on the IPSIA website, ipsia.com. Big thank you to Eric Kraus from Turbo Grips for lining us up with Mr. Knowles there. He was a fantastic interview. Tim Foy, also one that Eric helped us get to, so we could talk a little two-hand bowling with him as well. Yeah, Graham did not miss a whole lot on that show. That's why he won that match 258-196, defeating Knowles for his third career PBA title. Fa took home $30,000 for the win, also grabbed the points lead for the season. He is the only player on tour to have made both televised finals at the Players' Championship and the Missouri Classic. Well, the long-awaited bowling documentary that lots of us have been talking about now has a home on a cable network and a release date that is coming up soon. Born to Bowl is the 5-episode documentary series fans everywhere have been waiting for. It's scheduled to debut on HBO on Monday, March 16th at 8 p.m. Wisconsin time. Subsequent episodes will air on Mondays, also at 8 p.m. There are 5 of them. They're a half an hour long each. The episodes chronicles 5 tour stars: Kyle Troop, Anthony Simonson, EJ Tackett, Jason Belmonte, and Cam Crow, as they take on the challenges of the 2025 PBA Tour, including several of the majors from that season. Ben Stiller is the executive producer of the effort, and Liv Schreiber, whose voice you have likely heard in HBO's Hard Knocks and other documentaries, including Lombardi, is the one who is narrating those half-hour-long episodes. Certainly looking forward to seeing what Born to Bowl is all about. Etsy.com/shop/Bowling With The Fef Co. is our official merch store. You can find t-shirts and hoodies right there on demand, and we're coming out with some new designs too, so stay tuned for that. Thanks to these Bowling With The Fef partners. Bullwinkles on North Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Leagues and tournaments for all skill levels on 24 synthetic lanes. Enjoy bowling, grab some Topper's Pizza, a cocktail or two, check out the arcade, Trivia Mondays, and more. Test your skill and go after the green jacket at the Masters Bowling Tournament this Saturday, March 7th. Call 715-552-0565 to sign up.
Bullwinkles is proud to be the official bowling center of Bowling With The Fef. Come check us out on Eau Claire's west side or visit us at www.bullwinklesbowling.com.
Chip Magnet Salsa, raise your snack standards. Go to chipmagnetsalsa.com and enter promo code BWTF2026 at checkout to score 25% off a purchase of $30 or more. Jerry's Score More Pro Shop. Call Jerry at 715-559-1822 for all your bowling needs. And Visionary Video Hub, video production plus live streaming, podcasting, and voiceover. Find out more at visionaryvideohub.com. You know, middle-aged knuckleheads like me certainly remember a time when junior bowlers were absolutely forbidden from competing in adult events. And although that still includes doubles and team events in the present day, there is an exception that many youth bowlers take advantage of, and for good reason. Here's how it works. Jennifer Land from USBC emailed me saying USBC rule number 400 shows that USBC youth members cannot bowl or even pace in any team or doubles events where money is awarded, even if they don't cash or refuse the prize. This includes certified and uncertified competition. She underlined that part. Singles events are the exception. Youth bowlers can bowl and get into side action or brackets, but one of two things has to happen before the bowling. Tournament officials have to agree to pay the bowler in scholarship money, not cash, or the bowler has to waive his or her right to any prize. When you're 18 and older and in juniors, you can go adult, bowl for cash, but you do become ineligible for junior events if you do that. Again, a lot of us never had that opportunity, so this is kind of a cool thing to be bowling both at the same time, as our guest this evening does. Jayden Kenney is joining us from Muskego, Wisconsin, and he is keeping that seesaw in balance with both the adult events and the junior events. Jayden, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great to have you here. Thanks so much for reaching out. I love it when that happens. Makes it easier for me. Tell us about the experience of bowling both. I know several people in this area that do it. I'm sure there are several others besides you in the Milwaukee area that do. But again, I got to live vicariously through you people because I'm, decades removed from my junior days and never had the chance. So what's it like?
So yeah, all the youth tours in Wisconsin, Illinois, and like the Midwest area are all like U22, U23. So even if like you just graduated college, you could still bowl in the youth events. And then yeah, since you're an adult, you can still bowl, adult events still too.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. That's totally cool. Tell me about, the kind of the stipulations. You either have to compete for scholarship or waive your right to win anything. Which of those options do you find yourself in more often than the other, or is it 50-50?
I would say majority of the time I bowl youth stuff just because there's more of it.
Okay.
There's way more youth events than there are adult that are, I would say, worth bowling, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
I bowl more of the bigger adult stuff, and then, most of the youth stuff pays pretty good in scholarship money, so might as well bowl those,
Yeah. And you're a regular in JBST. Do you do other tournament tours?
Yeah, I bowl the WIBTs, ISSTs, EYTs. I believe that's it. Just those four. So.
And then in the adult events, when you kind of have to have one of those two things, either the money has to be paid in scholarship or you have to waive your right to win anything. Are there a lot of adult events that will pay in scholarship, or do you have to go the other route?
So I've learned that some tournament directors, if they don't fill up in their rosters, then they'll open it to youth and then they'll pay out smart money.
Okay.
So some of the younger guys too. So
great. So there's good opportunities there. You've got people lighting up the chat already. Motive Bowler, who I'm going to guess is Rocky Harrison.
Most likely, yeah, I think it is.
He has come a long way, and he is only getting better. Do you bowl with Rocky at all?
Yeah, Thursday night league.
All right. Riviera?
Yep, Riviera.
Okay.
Good old Wood Lanes.
Yeah, good times. Robert says, hi, son. Proud of you.
It's my dad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Here?
Oh, boy.
No, maybe not. Okay.
Here's Jack. That's what I was saying, oh, boy, too, is Jack's comment.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm so proud of you, honey. This is only the first step in your career, and hopefully more success comes down the road. And yeah, we talked about you a little bit when Jack came on.
Yeah.
Tell us what it's like to hang out with Jack and bowl with him.
Jack's a special guy. He's funny, very funny. He puts a lot of work in though, so I'm very proud of him.
Yeah.
Works hard.
Sure. What is that to you? And I love asking guests that, because everybody talks about putting in the work. Oh, I put in the work. Everybody puts in the work. What does putting in the work mean to you? And what does Jack do specifically that kind of gets your attention?
Putting in the work to me is having meaningful practices, not just going and bowling as many games as you can, but like actually working on stuff that needs to be worked on. And Jack does that. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And you can tell, it
right.
proves itself every time you see him bowl, because he's
exactly
a competitor. Before we went live here, we were talking about the U.S. Open, and you mentioned that you play some fantasy bowling. I'm guessing online. Can you tell us about that and how it works?
Yeah, so the Bowling EU is an Instagram account, and they run a fantasy league now. So now you can draft you join their Discord, and you could draft 5 bowlers based on points, and there's different tiers. And then each week they'll close it after the event starts or the first ball is thrown. And then basically how you guys do, you get points based off that.
Okay.
And they give out different awards each week for where you place at.
Gotcha. So I've got to ask, who do you have this week?
Let's take a look. I have Simonson, which was great pick for
good.
him leading yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think he's in 4th now. I had Knowles at my tier 2 and he dropped out.
Yeah.
Sam Cooley, and he's having a good year too.
Sure. Yeah.
I had drafted Tommy Jones. He's not bowling very well right now. And then Francois Lavoie.
Okay.
And he's won twice, so I kind of had to take him.
Yeah. Did you ever think about maybe taking a flyer on this guy? I mean, he was.
I thought about taking him for my your wild card pick.
Okay. He was up in 9th after day 1. I think he's around 30th now.
Yeah, I think he's like the first spot in after his squad,
but yeah, there's Simo ripping it up.
Yeah, no,
yeah. So good to see that. Yeah. How well do you know Trey? I mean, obviously I know him a bit because he grew up here, but
bowled with him for a couple years, before he went out to college. Talked to him here and there. We weren't really enough like ever friends, but we were acquaintances, so
okay.
Talked here and there when we can.
Sure. Cool. Dark Lass, 1997. Oh, hey, I know this guy, Big Kenny in the house tonight. This is coach therapist Tyler Chamberlain, who I feel like I've seen like every night this week. Run into each other at the lanes at both houses, really.
Yeah.
But how about Tyler? You know him a little bit?
I do. I bowled with a lot of his kids from high school bowling and talked to him when I was up at Wagner's.
Okay.
Bowling like JBS season stuff.
Cool. I like that because that makes the state seem a little bit smaller, which is good.
Right.
Up north. Yeah. Carson Kenny, I'm above you. Shout out Ethan Fiore for being the GOAT.
Yeah. Ethan Fiore is the GOAT.
I don't think you have to, think too hard to guess who he's got on his fantasy team.
He did have Ethan Fiore on his fantasy team. I remember him telling me that.
That's not a bad move.
No.
Riley the Angel, 2445. Proud of you, kid. Only improving. Know you'll have great success.
Thank you, buddy. That's my stepbrother.
Oh, cool. All right. Good deal. Let's kind of get into it. I mean, how did you end up in this crazy, crazy sport of bowling?
Yeah, I started off when I was 3, bowling in leagues and stuff. And then I played a lot of baseball growing up through middle school and high school.
Okay.
Then I kind of realized I was never really good enough to like do anything in the sport. And I've always bowled, and I was like, I could possibly make a career out of it and do well in it. So
yeah.
And then I bowled my first junior gold my sophomore year of high school. I was one-handed, and I had to kind of follow that wave of two-handing my junior year of high school. So.
And that's really interesting to me that, you had the confidence to kind of make that switch. I tried to make that switch, last off season, and it just didn't work for me. I mean, I'm, I'm old and out of shape, and it shows. Your mom, Kim Kloss, talked about that with me. She said it wasn't easy. It took a lot of patience, relearning fundamentals, rebuilding muscle memory, but he committed to it completely. Was it that way from the start, or did you have to kind of grow into it?
So for the start, I did both. I like one-handed, and I also like practiced two-handing. I remember there was a couple tournaments where I would start off playing to the right one-handed, and progressively when I got left, I would switch to two-handed.
Okay.
But it's kind of hard with your timing and everything to do both. So
sure.
Then it went to me switching to two-handed and then shooting spears one-handed, kind of like what Darren Tang does.
Oh yeah.
But then again, timing becomes an issue, so I just fully committed to two-handed.
Yeah. I always thought the perfect bowler would be the person who could go two-handed when he or she needed to and switch to one-handed when he or she needed to. But you're right, it's not exactly the same, and if timing becomes a problem, it's not worth it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So you end up in the two-handed game. Tell me about that process of gaining confidence in it and, getting to the point where you feel like, hey, even though I've done it one-handed for all this time, I can do this and I can compete with the best in my area.
Yeah, it was definitely frustrating to start.
Yeah.
Everything didn't kind of click the way I wanted it to. So I took a couple months off of tournaments just to really kind of practice it. And then I came back. I mean, this is kind of like hard to word. Like everything kind of stayed the same with me though. Like I still understood ball motion and everything else. So I guess it was kind of easy, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
You still have all the things you need, like your mental game that you need to do.
Sure. But the key, to bowling two-handed, because you're obviously going to have more revs on the ball,
Right.
is the momentum. You got to get it going fast enough so that it's not rolling out, picking off the 7-pin or worse.
And that was definitely a problem for me when I first started. Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you overcome that?
A lot of practice. Coaching from a couple of different guys. Chad always was there to help me. My dad, Coach Bob Mackey, helped a lot. So
yeah,
I had the resources I need.
Yeah, and that's really cool to have. Those resources, great bowlers around you, great bowlers in the family. What has that been like? Through the years to be around folks like Chad, like Bob, who not everybody has those kinds of coaches around them.
It's definitely an advantage, I would say. You get different insides from both of them. Obviously, Chad's been on tour for 11 years, and he knows how the game's going. And I mean, I think he knows a lot about the game more than I would say most people do.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's been a very big help for me and Ian. So
sure. Yep. Previous guest on the show too, and we're always thankful that he was able to sit down and talk. Bowling with Carter says, Kenny. That's a familiar face. Do you know Carter Pollins?
I do. Used to bowl some of the youth tours. Haven't seen him in a while though.
Okay. All right. Yeah, he just announced his commitment to Marian University in Fond du Lac. So cool.
I saw that. Very proud of him.
Yeah.
Came a long way. Yeah,
for sure. Ian says, crazy to think you're turning 30 in a month.
I'm not turning 30 in a month.
I was going to say, that sounds a little off.
Yeah. Only by 10 years.
Okay. But you have a birthday in a month.
I do.
Okay. Well, happy early birthday.
Thank you.
He's not 30, Ian. Not yet.
Not yet.
Your mom says your game has grown tremendously. Power, consistency, confidence. She says they've all improved. Tell me about the confidence part, because that is the key, right? You got to be able to go into these events, to go into leagues and tournaments and think that you're going to win every time, because nobody wins all that often. We all have to grind our way to it, but to have that belief in yourself, to be the first believer, is of the utmost importance, right?
Yeah, it definitely comes in waves for me. You'll have a week span that you're bowling really good. You're confident going into the weekend that you're going to put up some numbers and bowl your best. But I think it's just a thing where you have to just keep your head super level, not be cocky, but just confident that you have the skill to beat anyone anytime.
Yeah, sure. Was there a point where something happened, or you made you accomplished something that really kind of felt like you had gone up to a next level in confidence?
Yeah. 2 years ago on the youth tour when I was still only like, I think it was like 17, 18, when I was just bowling youth tour, no adult stuff. I think I made one cut throughout the entire season bowling 4 different youth tours, and it was definitely frustrating. And then put a lot of work in over the summer, and then I think the year after that I missed just a handful of cuts. I was making match plays consistently. And I was like, yeah, I can definitely do this. I won my first tournament, first 2 in one season, and
Wow.
that was a big one.
Both JBS?
No, they were actually AYBTs when they were a thing in Illinois.
Okay.
They got moved down to Florida because the guy who runs them moved down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Still, that's great stuff. There you go. Chatty Cakes is an awesome coach to have in your corner.
He is.
Is there something that he does or says that kind of sets him apart, do you think?
He has a really good eye. Just watching ball motion. And not a lot of people can do that.
Yeah.
I would say his eye is really good.
Sure. And there you go. I mean, there's the obvious plug, right? Be sure to stop at Bowler's headquarters for the best drilling. I'm guessing
Obviously.
Jack gets his stuff drilled there.
Yes.
Did did Chad always drill your stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, he has. I think Magna drilled mine for a while, but I've always gone there.
Okay. All right.
When it was his shop, so.
When, I've moved around a couple times, and I've found that I'm always super picky about ball drilling. And for the longest time, I thought it was just me. But to have that ball driller who is going to be there, who is going to make everything feel the same, I mean, you got to have it.
Right.
That's something that you kind of think about when you're getting new stuff, or is this at a point where, okay, Chad's drilled so much stuff for me, it's a foregone?
Yeah, I don't let anyone else in the shop drill my stuff besides Chad.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, Will, Gus, whoever else, apologies, but they're great at that too. But
they are.
I
They are.
got the family connection there, which is
Yes.
that does that. Kim says watching his progression has been incredible because it's not easy. She should know. It's one of those things where the hard makes it great, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. When you're in a moment where you're struggling, where maybe you're at a tournament and not really knocking them down, not really carrying, or not really finding a good look. How do you work your way out of that?
Just usually go take a walk around the building, kind of clear my mind and just tell myself, I'm a good player and I can really, I can put up numbers whenever. So just a mental reset and then come back to the lane and just restart. Brand new day. It could be game 4. Just restart your day and put up as much score as you can.
Sure. Yep. And in long format tournaments, you never know. You've got the games.
Exactly.
Even if you have a bad start, it can happen. Now, Mom did admit that you're a little bit of a hothead, but she said you're getting better at controlling your emotions. I remember being a junior bowler. You probably would call me the same. And, when you're younger, that's just what we are, but we learn. What was that process like for you to start, improving on that and, kind of being more even keel?
I think just as I got older, it kind of just got better.
Yeah.
Just like maturing.
Yeah.
Kind of just comes with age, I guess.
Sure. Just happens naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
I'd agree with that. Now, you, in addition to throwing the ball down the lane, are a bit of a digital creator. We see a lot of stuff that you post on Facebook with pretty, complete descriptions, and we know what ball you used and this and that. And Matt Duty told me, he does a great job on social videos. Very much someone who promotes the pro shop, brands of Brunswick. He said he didn't believe that you were a staffer, but you like what you like.
Right.
Do you just throw Brunswick?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. How come?
Chad's on staff, the shop's on staff, so
Okay.
it's easy to get my my balls from them.
Yeah. Natural fit.
Yep.
What has been, do you think, your favorite video or videos that you've posted out there and, you know, created of yourself, or of anybody else?
I don't really know. I don't know if I have one.
Yeah.
I have a lot of posts.
Okay. Well, that's good, because that must mean they're all good, right?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Duty said, as a bowler, you are young. You try really hard and work on your game a lot. In doubles and team events, he says you will listen, take advice, and generally do what is needed. He says, as a singles bowler, you've had some success, bowled really well in the Milwaukee Open with a 300 game in match play. That's pretty big. Can you kind of walk us through what happened there and what went so right for you?
Yeah, we were bowling on a dual pattern. I found myself down about 20 pins after the first game. I made a really big move on the left lane on the long pattern, going to reactive after throwing urethane on both for how many games we bowled that day, and just made the best shots I could, and the pins fell.
Yeah, kind of cool.
That's one away.
Yeah, especially on a dual pattern event, a dual pattern 300.
Yeah, that was that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, which house was that at?
Country Lanes in Franklin.
Okay, all right. Yeah, Robert says lots of talks, and I'm assuming he's talking about kind of the confidence and, you know, getting out of, you know, the bad performance and into the good. Jack says, I will say overtime, I've noticed on and off the lanes, if he bowls great or the worst in his career, his attitude after bowling is always very good. And most people don't recognize that. And that makes sense, because they see you out there, and then when the event's over, they leave. They don't see what you're like off the lanes. You know, for people who aren't around you off the lanes and don't get to see that side of you, how would you describe that?
It's kind of have a quick short-term memory. The day is over, and you can't change what happened, you know.
Yep.
So
Yep, it's a good
just
way.
go have fun with your friends. We usually watch some bowling after.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And it's, you know, and I respect that, because it's hard. You're so in the moment. You're so intensely focused on doing the best you can, being the best possible version of yourself. And then you have to kind of turn that off
Right.
at a moment's notice. It's hard. So that's great. Now, he also said, you know, again, he said, you're young. You can be overly critical of yourself and a bit overly emotional on the lanes. You expect every good shot off your hand to strike. And I'll tell you, you know, he also says he's learning, though. He has good intentions and loves the game. I expect every good shot off my hand to strike, and I don't throw it nearly.
I think we all do sometimes.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that, but you know, what does that say to you about, you know, maybe the mindset of throwing a good shot and leaving something that you thought shouldn't have been there? Is it easy to recover from that?
I guess in some points, you know.
Yeah.
You can't control what happens down lane, and I'm still trying to learn that too. Just tell yourself you made a good shot, make your spare, and move on with the next frame.
Yeah. Control what you can control.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Riviera and Country. Where else do you bowl?
For league or
League?
like practice, whatever.
Practice, whatever.
Classic Lanes Greenfield, where, you know, Bowlers headquarters is at.
Yeah.
Alpine Lanes here in Muskego. Menominee Falls and or Classic Lanes Menominee Falls Wednesday nights. So kind of everywhere, I guess.
Yeah. You know, and I'm assuming the Wednesday night, that's a league, adult league.
Yeah, it's a sports shot league.
Okay. tell me about the others in that league. Are there names that we'd be familiar with? Do you look up to anybody?
Chad Moss, Dave Barris, Kloss, Will Welch, all those guys bowl in that league. It's a pretty competitive league. Chris Hill.
Yeah, those are some big names. So how do you make sure that you're still, keeping up with the best? How do you bowl on that tough shot and, stay in the same neighborhood as the Klosses and the Mosses and the Chris Hills?
I kind of just pay attention to myself, not really worry about what they're doing, and try to bowl the best I can. So obviously I know my game more than anyone else does, and
sure,
just gotta stay in your own lane.
Yeah, literally. All right, Bowling with Carter says still upset about 2 years ago at state. What's he talking about?
During state team match play, we beat their team.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
you were bowling for which high school?
Muskego High School.
Muskego High School. Okay. And what happened? Why'd you end up coming on top on that one?
We had a really, really stacked team, and we just put up a lot of strikes.
Yeah. And all Baker system, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
What do you think of Baker system? What are your thoughts on that? And how good a Baker system bowler do you think you are? Because it's different, right? It's just a different mindset in that style.
I'd say it's more fun, honestly. And when you're with a bunch of guys and you're having fun, you guys are all bowling well. I think it's and I love team bowling. Like, it's the most fun you have on the lanes, and it's a good time. You're not in your head as much because you're talking to people, having fun, and yeah.
And you got help, got information, because
exactly, you have a team behind you that can see stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Carter says, haven't seen you in a while.
No, I have not. Wagner's Lanes is 4 hours from me, so it's kind of hard to get down there.
Yeah, no, understandable for sure. Where do you go from here? You're in this space right now where you can bowl both youth and adult events, and eventually that's going, you'll end up aging out.
Right.
But what are the goals and the plans? And do you see yourself sticking around Milwaukee? Do you see yourself, bowling local events or national events or anything like that?
It's a lot of thought behind it. Ultimately, I do want to bowl on tour. Whenever the time comes, whenever I think I'm ready to do that. So, I want to stay in bowling for as long as possible.
Yeah. What makes the tour attractive? And I ask that because it's different now than when I was younger. When I was younger, it seemed like they had like 30 or 35 events a year, and it was on pretty much every week. And now there are fewer events. It really takes being the best of the best to make the money, right? And it's a small window that you have to be the best of the best. But, I also see the other side. It's bowling against the best in the world and being the best in the world. I'm guessing one kind of, one end of the seesaw outweighs the other.
Right. I think it's just the competitive side of me that just really wants to bowl against, the best in the world.
Yeah.
Definitely take a while because I have to start bowling against the guys in my area, start beating those guys before I kind of move up to, regionals and stuff like that.
Yeah. Is there one tournament performance, one tournament win that you would say is either your best moment in bowling so far or your favorite moment in bowling so far?
Probably the doubles tournament I won with Ian. That was pretty cool. Not a lot of people say they can win with their brothers in a doubles tournament, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. How long ago were we talking? Where was it?
I think 2 years ago.
Okay.
It was an Easter doubles tournament down in Illinois,
Okay.
and it was our first Illinois event. We got to the tournament 10 minutes late, basically after practice was done, and yeah, we kind of just we've always clicked pretty well when we're bowling together, and we have a pretty close relationship. So
Yeah. And I've seen him throw the ball plenty. He throws it great, just like you do. Is there, is there competition between the two of you, or are you always, teammates first and us against the world?
there's definitely times we are like competitive against each other in tournaments, but at the end of the day, like we'll talk to each other, kind of see what we see. We're usually pretty close to each other when we're bowling, so we always talk about what we see and the ball reaction we have, and we'll watch each other throw and give each other some advice.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite bowler on tour or around town anywhere?
Yeah, Chad Kloss.
He kind of checks off all the boxes.
my favorite bowler.
Yeah. And he's fantastic. What do you think about his game that, kind of puts him in a better position to win than most, because he always seems like he's in that position?
It's kind of surreal to watch with as much injuries as he has had. He's reinvented himself so many times, and he's adapted to the current game, and it is super surreal to watch sometimes.
Yeah, really smooth. I always thought, for all the power he has, even, like you said, he's reinvented himself. He was different younger than he is now, but there's a lot of power there, and there's just a lot of fluidity. It's very fluid.
Yeah.
And that's got to be something that you look at and say, gosh, how can I incorporate that in my game?
I would say it's pretty hard as a two-hander to get the kind of that spot. We're working on it now to get a little bit more feel and touch, and so we're trying to work hard on that right now.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's cool. How many times a week would you say you practice?
I bowl about 5 times a week, 6 times a week.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
a lot.
A lot. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. So Rocky here says, good job. He says power, maybe more like consistent, like more consistent. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd give him that too, because yeah, he's kind of the total package. So that's really cool. Yeah. We kind of talked about it a little bit, but perfect world. You go out on tour, you find success. What do you hope that the sport looks like in those years ahead? Do you hope that, things stay similar? Are there changes you would like to see?
I mean, it seems like it's kind of going in a good direction. A little bit more notice, obviously Pat McAfee was there today, and it's just kind of nice to get the bowling game out there a little bit more, and it's a little bit more respect on the game.
Yeah.
And youth bowling is pretty big, and it's growing, so I'm hoping it continues that way.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I have really high hopes for that documentary, especially after seeing the trailer.
Right. Yeah.
Assuming that's something you're into as well.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Cool. We'll have to see what happens with that. All right. Let me get into a part of the show that we call Off the Sheet. Take a look at this.
Let's go off the sheet. Challenge a bowler to appear on a future episode.
I would like to challenge Will Madison.
I would say Diana Zavulova.
The better Russo, Lauren Russo.
We're looking for anyone who has a passion for the sport and a unique story to tell.
All right. Well, Jack has kind of made you familiar with a lot of this stuff, and I'm sure Off the Sheet was part of that. But we ask you to kind of call somebody out and challenge somebody else to be on an episode in the future. So who do you think? Who would you like to see on a future episode of Bowling with Fef?
I think Will and Chad would be good good one to kind of get them back on here, especially after their Eagle win last year, and we leave in 2 months to go back out there, and it's exciting stuff.
Okay, cool. And have you been in the past?
Yeah, I went last year.
Okay.
It was a very emotional week for them.
Yeah.
For the shop, the family, and everything. So
sure. Yeah, that team has always been great, and it's been really cool to see them, reach that accomplishment, because I know a lot of great bowlers who haven't done that, haven't been close. So yeah, and the cool thing about this show is, yeah, people have been on before. They've both been on before, but stories evolve and change. And yeah, you have that major chapter where they both come away Eagle winners. So I think that would be a fantastic idea. And I'd be lying if I said I hadn't talked to Will about that before, but there you go, Will and Chad. It's official. So, come find me. Bowling with the Fef at yahoo.com, Facebook, all the places, Rocky says, had to cut your hair to go to nationals.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Same thing again this year, I think.
Yeah. How short are we talking? Like as short as me?
I got a buzz cut last year before we went to nationals. Yeah.
Wow. Your idea or somebody else's?
It was mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Superstition?
No, I don't know. I actually kind of bowled better. I bowled worse when I had a buzz cut versus having long hair.
Okay. Well, hopefully it's better this time around.
Right.
Hair or no hair, whatever. It's the same swing, right? Get the ball down the lane the same way.
Maybe I can see a little bit better.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Do it again. Dad has spoken. But
oh, okay. I won't do it.
Just like that?
Yeah, I won't do it.
Fair enough. Well, we have got a great show coming up next week where we end up at Winkle's, the official bowling center of Bowling with the Fef. There's your guy, Carter Pollins, Talon Scheuer. They've both announced where they will be attending college. Marian University for Carter and Southern Nazarene for Talon, both highly ranked programs, and as they will kind of take the next step, they'll have them come in, talk about why they made the choices they did and what they're looking forward to a little bit earlier next week, 5 p.m. Thursday, the 12th. So a week from tomorrow is when we're on next. His head is huge. Without the hair?
I think both, but my hair hides it a little bit.
Okay. Well, if it's any consolation, yeah, I don't try on many hats. We'll say that. But yeah, really appreciate you coming in, Jayden. Thank you so much for reaching out and sharing your story with us. Best of luck moving forward with this.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. And thanks to all of you for watching. Always appreciated. We will see you again next time.
Thank you for watching Bowling with the Fef. Pound the like button and subscribe button. It's the easiest way to support the channel, and it's free. Bowling with the Fef is brought to you by Chip Magnet. Raise your snack standards.
Winkle's in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, the official bowling center of Bowling with the Fef. Jerry's Score More Pro Shop, the Eau Claire area's leader in bowling products and services since 1988, and Visionary Video Hub, video with impact.
Email bowlingwiththefef@yahoo.com with questions or to appear on the show. You can also reach out on your favorite social media platform.